Hey folks, this is Zach. We are going to do a video tour of the Gamma Artificial Intelligence Generation program and its implications with a special emphasis on education. So Gamma is an AI-powered system to generate slide decks, documents, and other visual media. The strong emphasis here is on the visual component as opposed to ChatGPT or Bard, which produced pure text. So this program is kind of awesome. It is free to join, but every time you use it, you use up credits. You can earn more credits, or you can pay for a premium subscription where you get virtually unlimited credits. I'm going to give you a quick tour of the user interface. So over here on the left-hand column, you see some pretty basic stuff that for presentation tools, some of the same things you would find if you were opening PowerPoint or Google Slides. Over in the middle of the screen, that's where you're going to see more interesting stuff. We'll come back to this button, New with AI, in a moment. New blank deck is just what it sounds like in that it creates an empty slide deck, but it does have some interesting stuff there. You can drop in notes or text from something that you have created, and it'll break it out into cards or slides. Similarly, import allows you to grab an existing document from Google Drive or from your desktop and then upload it. And then the software manipulates that and pulls it apart and creates draft slides for you based on your existing stuff. So this New with AI piece is where we're going to spend most of our time, because I think this is going to be the most profound implication for lots of education pieces. So the New with AI allows you to do a couple things. I'm going to open it up here. It allows you to create a new, let's say, slide deck with a sort of guided program we'll go through, and also text to deck where you can transform outlines, notes, or a whole document from an article. So we're going to look at an output, and then we'll do something fresh. So this is one that I created with relatively minimal guidance about fracking. So you're going to see some of the upside and downside of this program. Now, as I said in the blog post, this does not produce cutting edge, top of the line material. Instead, it produces stuff that's pretty good, has some problems, and it always frames it as a draft, which is important because you can go in and edit anything that's here. So when prompted to create an outline for a persuasive speech about why fracking is bad or why we should ban fracking, this is what it came up with. You'll note the odd visual even on the first one. For some reason, we have pictures of windmills rather than of, let's say, something bad from a fracking episode. But you see some pretty standard pieces. Okay, visuals are, like I said, are interesting, but they always seem to be a little bit off. So the main points for this are actually pretty solid. There's an introduction, overview of fracking. This is a lot like the kind of thing that I would share. Obviously, I think there are too many words on this slide, and there's not very many. There's nothing in terms of an interesting visual, but it's okay. This is a very sort of clean breakdown of the negative environmental impacts of fracking broken up into different boxes. Perhaps too wordy, perhaps some visuals would have been better here. Totally functional. If I'm teaching public speaking and this is what a student's slide deck looks like, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, you notice some of the weird visuals here when on this slide about the public health risks. So the air pollution visual is probably pretty good. Explosion and spills, I don't know why this is the visual that's here, because it's of a well-functioning, not spilling series of oil pipelines or natural gas, some sort of pipeline. So I'm not sure why that visual makes sense there. Like I said, the visuals always seem to be related, but a little bit off. And occupational hazards, that we see some sort of power plant or maybe smokestacks here, not exactly clear, always a little bit off. As we progress, you see this sort of nice visual that breaks down some of the economic costs and this sort of interesting slide design function. Alternatives, I don't know why there isn't a picture over here on the right. This would have been a good spot for that beautiful picture of the windmills from the first slide. And this, I thought, was an interesting piece that I did not prompt it for, which are case studies in successful fracking bans. Another weak point of this program seems to be its ability to integrate citation. Now, conventions for that vary. Sometimes professors or their professional conventions that say you should have citation in the slide deck. Sometimes it should be orally cited. But regardless, even when prompted for APA citation, it's a little bit of a mixed bag what the program produces. And then there's a typical conclusion. So it produces stuff that is good. It does not produce stuff that is great. And like I said, if you're talking to my wife, who is a sort of professional technical writer and designer for a living, this stuff does not look great. But if you're talking to me, a professor who sometimes is in a hurry when I'm creating my own decks or evaluating stuff that 19-year-olds make, maybe with a sort of scattered understanding of basic design principles, it looks pretty good. So as is usually the case, I thought I'd do a live creation. So we'll just go through the process. So we're going to click New with AI. We'll do Guided. So as you can see, there are a couple of different options here, depending on what it is that you're going to do. I'm going to do another presentation just because that's the world that I sort of live in. And for those of us that teach oral communication, it's pretty important. I'm going to drop in something here that I have not tested out, persuasive speech outline about why you should adopt a dog from a shelter instead of buying from a breeder. Okay. So one of the interesting things the program does is it takes a second and sort of creates a preliminary outline. So this is it: problem with breeder, buying for breeders, benefits of adopting, addressing common concerns about shelter dogs, the adoption process, cost comparison. So this, I'm going to say these are too many points. And so we're going to say, okay, that looks good, but like, let's cut out this part about the adoption process and the cost comparison. Okay, well, let's make it a little bit shorter. So then we're going to continue. And then it gives us some options, kind of typical options for design of the deck. Okay, we'll just scroll down here. Oh, this one looks interesting. Let's go this. No, that's not a great fit. Here we go. How about this one? Nice and earthy. All right, let's see what it does. So here you get to see the AI process as sort of as it is creating. It's putting together images, it's putting together text. I don't actually know what AI text generation program is powering this from the background, but you can sort of see it unraveling here. It works pretty fast. The first time I did this, I actually just entered a prompt and then went and made breakfast for my daughter. And by the time I came back, there was a perfectly passable set of slides. Again, you see the same issues popping up here. I don't know why there isn't a compelling picture over on the right-hand side. It seems like that would have been a better place rather than just generic slide design. So you see it's going to break down this into major points. It's not going to win any awards at a design show for most outstanding design, but it's perfectly passable. So while this is continuing to create, I want to take note of a couple implications that are especially important for us as educators. This is an enormous disruption to those of us who evaluate and teach presentations as part of our work, because teaching these design principles and then having students implement them, that's a part of most oral communication classes like the kind that I teach. But it's also a significant sort of opportunity to improve some of the work that we do. I'm notorious for simplistic and some might say bad slide design in some of my classes. And there's really no excuse for that when there's a program that can spruce up an existing slide deck or create a new one from scratch. And that last one opens up a new possibility that I think we as educators need to be aware of in relation to generation programs like this and ChatGPT. So one of the impediments to adopting no-cost textbooks has historically been the lack of existing resources, right? Oh, there's no slide deck for each chapter. There's no multiple choice question breakdown. There's no sort of support. Now we have pieces of support that are readily available to us. So now you could adopt that no-cost textbook in chemistry, knowing that you can drop a chapter, a section, or an outline and get a draft of a slide deck. Like I said, this always treats all the pieces of this as a draft. So you could link out here down below. You can tell it how satisfied you are with it. I think that this is a pretty good deck, the kind of thing that I would be pleased with from an instructional standpoint, and also the kind of thing that If this came as part of a package with a textbook, I would think I can totally work with that, improve it, put some of my own pieces in it, and make it work. So this is a significant disruption, but not all of it is bad. And I think it's something that we're going to have to learn to live with and perhaps adjust some of our student learning outcomes rather than try and fight or work around. All right, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos about the implications of artificial intelligence on teaching and learning, especially in higher ed. See you next time.